Imagine this. You've just said I do.
Right.
The ceremony was absolutely flawless. The music is swelling. You step out of the venue in this pristine, perfectly tailored outfit. And instead of someone handing you, like, a delicate crystal flute of champagne,
Which is what you'd expect, right?
exactly what you'd expect. But no, you are handed a massive, razor-sharp, two-person cross-cut saw.
Yeah. And you're immediately pointed toward this giant, rough-hewn wooden log sitting on a sawhorse right in the middle of this beautifully manicured lawn.
It's just wild.
It is. The romantic music fades out, and suddenly your guests are circling around you like you're about to step into a lumberjack competition.
It is the ultimate record scratch moment. I mean, you are in your absolute finest wedding attire, the adrenaline of the vows is still pumping, and someone essentially hands you forestry equipment and just says, hey, get to work, and try not to ruin your clothes.
Good luck with that, yeah.
Right. Well, welcome to today's deep dive.
Yeah.
We are taking you into a really fascinating piece of source material from Weddizer, which details this centuries-old German wedding tradition known as Baumstamm Sägen.
Or sawing a log together.
Exactly. And our mission for you today is to unpack how a physically demanding, undeniably sweaty chore somehow became one of the most profound and honestly globally trending metaphors for modern relationships.
It really is trending everywhere because, on the surface, it looks like a chaotic party trick.
Totally.
It looks like just a great way to tear a very expensive dress or ruin a bespoke suit. But when we actually analyze the mechanics of this tradition from the Weddizer piece, we find this incredible masterclass in collaboration.
Oh, for sure.
It's a ritual that forces a couple to physically demonstrate the very abstract, often lofty concepts they literally just promised to uphold in their vows moments prior.
Yeah, and before we really get into that, okay, let's unpack this. We really need to establish the physical reality of what is actually happening at the venue first. Because the magic of this whole tradition relies entirely on the physics of the tools involved.
The physics are the whole point.
Exactly. So picture the scene. The couple exits the venue, and waiting for them is that sturdy wooden log securely placed on a wooden sawhorse. They're directed to stand on opposite sides of this log, and they are presented with a traditional crosscut saw.
Right, the really long, flexible kind with a vertical handle on each end.
Yeah, that one. Each of them takes a handle, the guests start cheering, and they have to cut all the way through this log before the reception can officially begin. And, today we joke that the ultimate test of a modern relationship is assembling flat-pack furniture together without arguing.
Oh yeah, the infamous bookshelf test.
Bookshelf test, exactly. But this log sawing tradition makes assembling a bookshelf look like child's play.
It really does.
Because with a flat-pack bookshelf, if you get frustrated, one person can just angrily take over, hoard the tiny Allen wrench, and just finish the job themselves while the other person stews on the couch.
We've all been there.
Right. But the physics of a two-person crosscut saw, they absolutely forbid you from doing it alone. You just can't.
You literally can't. And that physical limitation is where the profound symbolism hides, like right there in the mechanics. Because a two-person saw is a highly specific piece of engineering.
Right.
It's designed with teeth that cut in both directions, but it only works smoothly if there's a perfect balance of tension and release. It operates entirely on the pull stroke.
Okay, so just the pull stroke.
Just pull, yeah.
Yeah.
When you pull the saw toward you, it cuts. And when your partner pulls the saw toward them, it cuts. What you absolutely cannot do, under any circumstances, is push.
Wait, okay, so if I decide, I'm going to be the hero here, and I try to aggressively push the saw back toward my partner just to, speed up the process, what actually happens?
The blade will literally bow in the middle.
It bends.
It bends. The metal bends, the teeth catch unevenly in the wood, and the saw just completely jams in the kerf.
The kerf.
Yeah, the kerf is the groove you're cutting into the wood.
Oh, gotcha.
So it brings the entire process to a grinding halt. You cannot micromanage a crosscut saw, and you cannot overpower it. Success relies entirely on rhythm.
Wow.
You have to pull when it's your turn, and this is the crucial part. You have to yield and let your partner pull when it's their turn.
It functions almost like a physical lie detector for a couple's conflict resolution style.
There's a perfect way to put it, yeah.
Because you can't fake a shared rhythm. The saw gives you this immediate, undeniable feedback. Like you pull too hard at a turn, the saw stops. You stop communicating your pacing, the saw stops.
Right.
It just forces a couple to stop looking at the problem, which is the log, and actually look at each other to recalibrate.
And that immediate feedback loop is exactly why the Weddizer source material highlights this as the ultimate test of teamwork and equality and patience.
It really is.
Think about the psychological impact of that in the context of any partnership. Imagine trying to force your own way in a business collaboration, or stubbornly refusing to yield in a personal relationship.
It never works out.
No, never. Forcing the issue or failing to read your partner's rhythm creates the exact same friction as pushing that saw blade. The progress stops, the tension builds, and you end up exhausted with, literally nothing to show for it.
But it seems so weirdly intimate, though, to have this very real, potentially frustrating moment of physical calibration happen in front of 100 guests.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if I'm doing heavy manual labor in formal wear and I'm trying to figure out a rhythm with my partner, I'd probably want to do that in private. Was this originally like a private bonding moment for the couple that just slowly crept into the public eye?
Actually, no. The public aspect was the entire point from the very beginning.
Wait, really?
Yeah, to understand why, we really have to look at the historical roots of Baumstamm Sägen, which stretch back centuries in rural German-speaking regions. You have to put yourself in the mindset of an agrarian society where your physical environment was incredibly unforgiving.
Right, like winter is coming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In historical Germany, particularly in areas like the Black Forest, wood was not some rustic decorative element for a Pinterest board.
Definitely not.
It was the absolute baseline of survival.
It was fuel. It was basically how you didn't freeze to death when the winter hit.
That's exactly it. Wood represented warmth during brutal winters. It provided the fire for cooking food. It was the building material for shelter. It essentially represented the economic prosperity of a household.
Oh, it's everything.
Everything. Being able to efficiently process timber was a non-negotiable life skill. So the community wasn't just gathering around the log to offer, polite congratulations.
Yeah.
They needed to see a public display of capability. Because in those smaller historical communities, everyone's survival and prosperity were deeply intertwined. A household that couldn't sustain itself became a burden on the rest of the village.
That dramatically raises the stakes. I mean, they aren't just cutting a log for a cute photo op. They are proving their viability as a family unit to the local economy.
Right. They are essentially signing a social contract in sawdust.
I love that.
By successfully finding a rhythm and cutting through that log, the newlyweds were demonstrating to their neighbors, to their parents, their local leaders, that they actually possessed the physical stamina, the cooperation, and the resilience to run a household from day one.
And the families must have taken this very seriously, right?
Oh, absolutely. They would prepare the log well in advance. The Weddizer piece notes that they wouldn't just drag some dirty, rotting branch out of the mud on the day of the wedding.
Right, no.
They selected a very sturdy log, and they decorated it. They would adorn it with seasonal flowers, tie ribbons around it, and actually carve the initials of the couple into the bark.
Which is beautiful, but it makes you wonder how a tradition born out of the threat of a brutal, freezing agrarian winter has managed to survive into the era of, central heating and smart thermostats.
Yeah, it's quite the leap.
It really is. Because Weddizer notes that this is no longer just an obscure historical reenactment happening in rural Germany.
No, not all.
It's spread to Austria, Switzerland, and it is suddenly popping up as a massive trend in modern multicultural destination weddings all over the globe.
It's everywhere now.
So why are couples today who will probably never need to chop their own firewood to survive so drawn to this sweaty, laborious task?
Well, it perfectly illustrates a major shift in what modern people value during these milestone celebrations. We're seeing a widespread cultural rejection of the stiff, highly scripted, passive wedding ceremony.
Oh, absolutely.
For decades, weddings were curated to the point of rigidity. Guests sat in straight rows, the couple performed these memorized actions, and everything was designed for a static photograph.
Just a perfect posed picture.
Exactly. But modern couples, particularly millennials and Gen Z, they're prioritizing experiential authenticity.
They want it to be real.
Right, they want something tangible. They are craving rituals that evoke genuine emotion and require real effort, rather than just, staged perfection.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because that makes total sense. You can pose for a cake-cutting photo and fake a smile without breaking a sweat.
Easily.
But you absolutely cannot fake sawing through a 10-inch thick piece of timber. It forces a messy, unscripted moment into a day that is otherwise micromanaged down to the minute.
And the messiness is the appeal. Shared physical hardship, even on a minor scale like this, triggers a really strong psychological response.
Like a chemical reaction.
Yeah, when you engage in cooperative physical exertion, your brain releases neurochemicals like oxytocin and endorphins. It builds a sudden, intense bond. You are tackling a physical obstacle together, the adrenaline of the crowd is washing over you, and you are achieving a concrete goal within minutes of legally binding yourselves to one another.
And from a purely visual perspective, I mean, it is a brilliant addition to modern wedding planning. It naturally complements the shift toward outdoor and experiential venues.
Oh, for sure.
The source highlights this tradition being incorporated into rustic barn weddings, alpine mountain celebrations, enchanted forest setups, and vineyard destinations. If your visual landscape already includes wooden decor, greenery, and natural light, rolling a beautifully decorated log into the center of the party fits seamlessly.
It looks amazing.
Hmm.
But we also have to look at how non-German couples are adopting this. Because they aren't just superficially lifting a foreign custom for the sake of a gimmick.
Right.
The trend is growing because couples are personalizing the ritual to honor both the historical meaning and their own individual identities.
How so?
Well, the source mentions couples painting the logs in their specific wedding colors or having local artisans create custom wood engravings with their family crests.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, or even leaving space for guests to write personal messages on the wood before it gets cut.
Yeah.
The log itself becomes a deeply personal artifact.
Yeah.
Once it's cut in half, many couples actually treat the two pieces to preserve them, turning them into side tables or garden seats for their new home.
Which is just an incredible physical memento to keep in your house.
Absolutely that.
But, you know, we also have to acknowledge the media engine driving this trend. The photography and video opportunities described in the Weddizer piece are cinematic gold.
Oh, they are?
We've all scrolled past a million standard wedding photos online. They all start to blend together after a while.
Yeah, the